KO Sports here with Seniesa Estrada, fighting on the undercard of Triple G versus Dominic Wade, April 23rd. Chocolatito's on that card, big HBO card. How excited are you? I know it's the second time around on their undercard, but how excited are you? Fighting on your hometown, fighting on a big card like that.
I'm very excited to be back on such a big card for a second time. It means a lot, Not many women get the opportunity to fight on such big cards, and I think it's important that women get the chance to showcase themselves on such big cards, and it's exactly what women's boxing needs for that kind of push and exposure, and I'm hoping I'm able to be the one to do that for everyone.
Definitely. Tell your fans who don't know, how'd you get started in boxing?
I got started when I was 8 years old. I would watch boxing fights with my dad when I was little, and we would watch boxing together, and my dad never expected me to say, "Hey, Dad, can I box?" But it was just intriguing, and I loved it, and I loved watching it. So I asked him, "Hey, Dad, do women box?" And he said, "Yeah, well, they do, but there's not that many." Which at the time there was Lucia Riker, Christy Martin, but never anything that ever transcended the sport. So it was never really too big for women. So I didn't know if women even boxed. So when I first started, I went to a gym when I was 8 years old, and the guy said, "Well, we really don't train girls, and if we did, she's too young, so bring her back when she's like 13." So I got in the car, started crying, and my dad was like, "Oh man, I guess she really does want to do this." So he grew up with Olympic gold medalist Paul Gonzalez, so they grew up together, and my dad took me to his gym, and from there I started with my first trainer named Ronnie Ravoda, and he was like, "You know what, yeah, I'll train you, I'm gonna treat you just like the way I treat the guys, and not taking it easy on you." And I was like, "Yeah, let's do it." So I started from there, and I never stopped, kept going. So it's been about going on 17 years now.
Wow, that's an excellent story. Your dad's actually posted on Instagram some videos of you sparring like Frankie Gomez and stuff like that. Did you give him the business? Who made who cry first?
No, Frankie. Frankie's the one person I was never able to beat up. Frankie always took it easy on me because since he started boxing when he was 5 years old, and he just has so much natural talent and skills. And we were teammates since we were 8 years old, so sparring with him made me the fighter that I am. Like if you watch us both fight, you would see so many similarities. Like when I watch his fights on TV, or I go watch him live, I'm like, damn, like that looks like me, but we're so similar. And it's because we started training together and sparring together since we were kids, and I've sparred mostly all the prospects that are young prospects right now, like Joseph Diaz and all those guys. We grew up sparring together, and that's what made me the fighter I am today, sparring such good fighters like that.
Speaking of Joseph Diaz, he has a big fight with Jason Velez coming up March 26th. How do you see that going?
Oh, I think that's going to be a great fight. I'm rooting for JoJo. Grew up watching him as an amateur, and I was always a big fan of him. He's a great fighter, always been very humble and very nice, so I'm rooting for him for sure.
I heard something about Edward James Olmos was going to be doing a movie about you or something. Can you tell us more about that?
Sundance film, directed by and written by Edward James Olmos' son, and it's a story about my life and my dad's life before and all through my amateur career. My dad was in and out of prison before I started boxing, addicted to drugs and stuff. So that's basically what the story's about, of how I started boxing, and it changed his life and changed our life for the better, and that's basically what the story's about in the movie. Yeah. That's
great. That's a great inspirational story of how it kind of went from the bottom and kind of like going to a better situation. So the movie's done already, or it's in the works? Oh, okay.
The script is finished, so I'll know soon when we'll be starting like filming and everything like that. Yeah.
You're gonna be playing yourself?
Maybe, I don't know.
if not for you, who would play you on screen? Who would you like to play you on screen?
I don't know. I would, maybe play myself. I think that would be the best thing. Yeah. I don't think anyone could fight like I can.
That's true. Yeah. I was trying to think of the answer to that question myself. I'm like, well, maybe Evelyn Gora is like spunky enough, but she's not blonde, so that might not work. Women's combat sports is super big right now, obviously with Ronda Rousey and Holly Holm, and then even this weekend with Miesha Tate beating Holly Holm. I just want to get your take first on the Holly Holm-Rousey fight. Kind of what did you think about that when that first happened?
Okay, yeah, I wasn't surprised at all by Holly's victory. I knew that that's what it would take to beat Ronda, somebody who knows how to box and use her distance. And a lot of people, they weren't familiar with Holly, and they don't know how much, boxing experience she had. She had so many fights, but she never even got the exposure because, women's boxing isn't televised, and there was no promoters at the time, trying to push for women's boxing, like, Dana White is doing for the UFC. So not many people were familiar with her, and I was, because I knew how much boxing experience she had. So I wasn't shocked at all by her performance and how easily she beat Ronda. I mean, I was surprised that it ended so quickly, but at the same time, I knew she would be the one to be able to defeat Ronda.
I think a lot of kind of boxing people had that idea kind of going in, but MMA people, it's like this kind of rivalry between like MMA and boxing that it's like I think they were even more because she came from boxing a little more kind of hating on her, like, oh, she doesn't deserve it, and then sure enough that happened. Yeah. Well, what did you think about this weekend's fight with Miesha Tate and Holly? What did you think about that?
I was rooting for Holly, but I do like Miesha Tate also. I think she's she's a great fighter. She's not just one-dimensional, which is why she was able to do so well against Ronda when she did fight her, and which is why she was able to defeat Holly. And then plus she was able to watch tape on how the mistakes that Ronda made against Holly, and I'm sure that's what she capitalized on for sure. So it helped her a lot.
Yeah, like what not to do.
Yeah.
Tell us your next opponent, Celine Lopez. Tell us about her. What do you know about her?
My opponent, Celine Lopez, is I think 3-4-3 or something like that. Yeah, and she's fought a few former champions at my weight class, so she has rounds of experience. But I'm ready. I've seen film on her. I'm just ready and prepared for whatever she has to bring. So I'm looking forward to just putting on a great performance that night. Yeah.
Where does a victory over her put you as far as like title contention, maybe top 10, things like that?
It'll move me up in the rankings, but I'm not looking for that title right now. I'm only 5-0, so I want to continue to build my record for the rest of the year. So hopefully, end the year at least 10-0, and then think about fighting for a title. So we'll see who will be first for that. Yeah.
What's your nickname?
Super Bad.
And how'd you get that nickname?
Super Bad because my one of my favorite fighters is Sugar Ray Leonard, and growing up in the gym, that's his nickname. That's what they called him. So, yeah. And when you see me fight, you'll hopefully say she's super bad.
No, definitely. And if you haven't seen her fight, definitely tune in. You have a very aggressive style, but you do kind of throw that like Roy Jones left hook there. How would you describe your style?
I would describe my style as unique. It's different. It's offense to defense, defense to offense, not just, being aggressive with, not being smart. It's aggressive, but in a smart way. When I'm aggressive, I know exactly what I'm doing. I know why I'm doing it, so I'm setting up things at the same time. So, I can box well. I think, I'm just not one-dimensional. I think that's a lot. That's what makes me stand out so much what made me stand out so much as an amateur and gave me such a successful amateur career was because of that. And in the pros, I'm just the same thing. I think a lot of women fight pretty similar, so I bring something different, something that's a style that they haven't seen before, which will hopefully make it very difficult for each of my opponents, and I can adjust to just about anything, just because I've seen so many styles in the amateurs and I have all that experience. So just unique. It's just different, and I just I can't wait to just continue to let people see that.
Yeah, no, you definitely have a unique style. It's very fan-friendly, so if you guys haven't seen her, definitely check her out. She will be fighting again April 23rd. Tell your fans where they can follow you on Instagram, Snapchat, all that stuff.
Sure, yeah, you can follow me at Seniesa_Estrada on Instagram and Twitter, and like my Facebook fan page, Seniesa Estrada.
Then guys, definitely tune in, follow this girl, because she knows how to fight, and she's going to be around for a while. So thank you very much for the time. Really, really appreciate it. Thank you.